The average price of gas hasn't moved much for the last week or the last month, really, because supply has been growing along with demand. Today's national gas price average is $3.07, unchanged from 1 week ago, 3 cents higher than 1 month ago and 96 cents higher than a year ago. In Connecticut, the average price of gas is now $3.09. That's unchanged again on the week, up 3 cents since last month and up $1.01 than over last year's same date. Alcohol consumption in the U.S. Hits a near 2-decade high in 2020. The International Wine and Spirits Record, which tracks world beverage trends, says alcohol in the U.S. was consumed in 2020 at the highest level since 2002. The coronavirus pandemic and wider choices as key factors. Consumers wanted flavors in alcoholic beverages. Wine resonated with many in lockdown. Spirits such as whiskeys, agave-based, and cognac grew the fastest since 1990. And cocktails grew by more than 52%. The spirits record says more moderate sales will return over the next 5 years. Well, Carnival Cruise Lines announces a data breach, that breach affecting both employees and customers on Carnival Cruise Lines, Holland America, and Princess Cruises. The company has not said how many people were affected by the breach. Among the information leaked, birth dates, passport numbers, social security numbers, and addresses. This coming after Carnival was the subject of 2 ransomware attacks last year. A spokesman for the company said they are making changes to improve their security.